Hi, good morning. Chris Mulo from Philippine News Agency. What is our strategy for us to achieve the 128,000 target of producing 120,000 semiconductor electronics energy engineers by 2028? And where are we right now?
I think I'll start with maybe our partners from the industry and the US can also chime in. I think the main strategy for achieving the 180 by 2028 is really looking at the specific requirements of the industry and then map out the interventions, particularly at the technician level, undergraduate, and at the doctorate level. And then we actually tap our academic institutions. When we talk of academic institutions, it could be the higher education. Also with TESDA, because the technicians would also be coming from programs of TESDA. And then also, we're also looking at tapping the Department of Education, particularly from the junior to the senior high. What we're also looking at is doing some campus advocacies, making the students understand the different opportunities for the semicon. Because part of what we're trying to address also is looking at the number of graduates we have right now for the relevant engineering courses. And one of the findings that we have is there's actually a decline of enrollees in the specific engineering courses. So part of the work that we'll be doing with industry partners is going around the campuses for the students from the junior and senior high, also for them to consider engineering courses that would be contributing to what we want to achieve for the electronics and semiconductor industry. And then tapping the UNST, of course, for some of the scholarships, so that we get more of the the more IT savvy graduates who would be needing probably scholarships, funding grants, and maybe if they can be sent abroad also to get more of the advanced technologies for their needs. So that would be actually the main strategy. And what we're doing right now in the SAM working group for HRD is tracking all of this, trying to map out if we need also country partners, like for example, we can do partnerships with the US, as mentioned by the Undersecretary. We will also tap, for example, colleges and universities in Taiwan. We also have initial discussions with, for example, the Netherlands. So this would all be part of the strategy for the activities that we'll be doing together with the academic institutions. We've shared in the industry partners.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Ed.
Hello, yes, good morning. Alden Mazon from the Philippine Daily Inquirer. My question is to the industry, so to Sir Dan. Sir Dan, that 128,000 engineers and technicians, are those enough to fill the demand in the sector?
Right now, there is, if you look at the current demand, and I'm talking about the supply chain. In fact, we're working with the the private sector advisory council, specifically for electronics. We kind of did a scan, a survey of samples from the member companies, and it looks like, sad to say at this point, we're probably looking at maybe 12,000 engineers for the industry in the next 2 years. But like P.D. Corey and you Secretary said, that's not enough. But the problem is, how do we create both on the supply and demand side? When I say supply, it was touched on earlier that, in fact, I was invited to speak at one of the technical universities last Saturday. And I asked the president, I said, well, how's your enrollment in engineering, specifically for DC and everything? It's sad to say it's with him. And I don't think that's just a blip. I think for the most part, a lot of the schools have reduced enrollment in ECE. DS pa lang to wala pa yung MS and PhD, which talking to say kailangan sa ICT studies. And why is that? Because, sabi ko alin ang pinagmataas ng engineering enrollment nyo. Not surprising, civil engineering. Okay. It is good. Kailangan natin yung infrastructure yun. But then again, what we need to do is more of one, educating the community, the studentry, of the opportunities in engineering. I'm not just talking about semiconductors and electronics, but whether it's telecom or whatever. Specifically for semiconductors, that you look at the other side, the demand side. What are they going to do when they become ECEs, okay, and or electrical engineers? Well, there's it's a mixed bag, because if you look at the agency today, on one hand, there's advanced manufacturing, IR 4.0, which theoretically says automation will reduce the workforce. Not quite so, because when you automate the line, obviously you're going to need a lot of support in terms of the programming side, the equipment engineering side. So I think the problem really is having, like Victoria was saying, a campaign to educate the studentry of the opportunities in the semiconductor electronics field, and also creating the opportunities for the demand side jobs. That's not you said very earlier. We kind of shot ourselves in the foot in the last couple of years with some policies and decisions that we made. In fact, one specific example of a capital flight, I would say, is that Louis mentioned earlier, Malaysia afforded about $2.2 billion of investments. This one, about 6 or 7 years ago, an American multinational was actually talking to the government, the previous administration said they want to expand, and they're looking at the Philippines. Well, what happened was, because of some of the decisions we made, specifically for incentive rationalization, 3 months ago, Vietnam announced a $1.6 billion investment of that company, which is in the Philippines. But the good news is this administration is very open, and the recently industry working with Secretary Torres, Secretary Fred, and hopefully we can correct those. Admittedly, there's a sabi ni Secretary, the time is right and the wind is right. But it's not too late. We can still rectify that situation with all the measures and collaborative effort among industry, academia, and government. I think we can still write it and catch up with that again. Thank you.
I also have another question for the DOS. So to Engineer Escorial. Madam, you mentioned earlier that there is funding available for startup firms in this field. How much funding is available, and how much can individual firms actually avail? And what's the nature of this fund? Is it only for habitat, or is it only for research and design? Can it be used anywhere? Thank you.
For the Startup Grant Fund, actually, DICT, DTI, and DOST have their own programs to help the startup. Yung sa amin po, if you are a startup with a certain technology that you would like to be further developed so that you could bring it to the market, that's the type of startup that we are funding. The funds is up to 5 billion pesos. So because it's more of development pa lang naman, just to make sure na makarating sa market yung kanilang mga produkto. So, and we are funding about 10 startups a year. And we have funded about 40 plus startups. And we have quite a good number of startups that are making in the market, like Datwala, which is on blockchain technology. So basta pag pumunta sila sa DOST, the big thing is there should be the R&D component in their proposal so that they could make their product ready for the market that they are buying.
Before
I'll just give the full complement of panelists. I'll give them a few minutes to introduce themselves because we have representatives from the academe, from the association initially started by Dr. Chica, and then down the line we have also members from the IC community. So we could start with Engineer Namotan of the Colegio de Manila.
Good morning. I'm Robert Lumatan from Colegio Muntinlupa. Just to give you a background, we're an engineering school located in Muntinlupa City. This school is funded by the local government of Muntinlupa. So we're here because we also have efforts to help the IC design industry, specifically in Muntinlupa, because in Muntinlupa po, I think there are 13 IC design companies located in Muntinlupa. So there has been initial talks specifically with scientists to create an ecosystem that would be sustainable, and the goal na po is to help the IC design industry, because as what was mentioned earlier, there's a scarcity of manpower that is necessary for that IC design industry. So, yeah. Thank you.
Hello, good morning everyone. I'm Alexander Abad, from Assistant Professor under Electronics and Communications Engineering Department of De La Salle University. As a little background, I work in RLD, Rome LSI. It's an IC design company for 2 years, and I worked for 3 years as a test development engineer at Analog Devices Philippines, and before going to the academy. My master's is related to microelectronics, but my PhD is related to computer science and informatics. And specifically, I'm working now in robotics and haptics, but I have an advocacy to promote open source IC design tools. If you will search using Google, there is a movement right now that is growing in different parts of the world, especially in the US, UK, and EU. The tagline is democratizing IC design using open source IC design tools. I have, as part of my little contribution to information sharing related to the IC design, I created a page. It's an FB page entitled IC Design Libre, where I put all information related to different tutorials, lectures related to IC design to make the Filipino students aware of what is IC design. Thank you.
I'm Cory Dichosa po from the BOI Industry Development Services, Los Cobos, Kennedy.
So, good morning. Rod Kwok from the Electronics Industry Association of the Philippines. So, we are focused on design, that's in semiconductor and electronics. I'm also part of Ionics EMS, which is one of the largest electronics manufacturing and design companies in the Philippines.
Hi, I'm Chiri Ambondo, work for Science. I have a total of 3, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the total engineers, total IC design engineers. We have at Science 328 currently. And you left the background. I really wanted this to happen. our engineers and scientists are the one who design the technology that will come up 5-7 years from now. So, I really want to discuss it. It's becoming a problem already. I also work with CDF, Colegio de Muntinlupa. We also provided them kung ilang R&D companies na nakatakot sa Muntinlupa. Okay. So those are the majority of them are multinational companies. So it will be very hard for them to join the movement, but they are very supportive. And I also would like to thank, just like Mayor Biasco talaga supported CDM, supported the EA tools, which is very, very, very expensive. And that's also the reason why we're working with CDM because of this tools. So we're promoting sa mga estudyante, we're also promoting from north to south. We go to all the way to Apalili, down to Mindanao to promote ICT design engineers or ICT, so the microelectronics. Okay? So yun yung ginagawa namin sa science design. So I'm just very, very lucky with my partners na yung advocacy namin is not just to sustain, but to make sure yung mga estudyante awareness kung kung bakit importante yung ICT design industry sa Pilipinas. So yun yung awareness na ibigay namin sa mga bata, and also awareness sa media on how to focus on the semiconductor. Ano yung low semiconductor. And I think Dr. Ruby already explained how it works. So, just like what I said, we design, yung mga engineers namin sa science design, yun yung mga brain, yung mga IC design, that the technology will come out again, 5, 7, or 10 years from now. So, ganun patatalinin yung mga Pilipino talaga. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Our next question is coming from, I saw Renji, but let's go again.
Thank you so much for the invitation.
Congress Dominguez and Fisher and live. I am not mistaken, UNICEF says country should have 380 full-time researchers per million population. Philippines only has around 174. 380 full-time researchers. So, in terms of GDP expenditure, Philippines has 0.16 since 2020. Singapore and Thailand, more than 1% from the GDP. Indonesia and Vietnam also higher than the Philippines. So we have the triumvirate here, private sector, public sector, and the academy driving global competitiveness. So who do you think among you is the biggest contributor and should be doing more to raise the Philippines' global competitiveness?
Sir, can you repeat the question?
I mean, because we lack researchers, full-time researchers, we also lack IC designers, as Mr. mentioned a while ago. So among the three sectors, those should be doing more, and what would be the best contribution of each sector?
I will start from DTI because we've always been the forefront naman of easy doing business in the Philippines. So part of the global competitiveness that we're working on, of course, is first making the business environment conducive to a lot of investments that will eventually bring in technology as well as skills into the country. And with that, of course, will provide competitiveness for local industries that would either develop more sophistication in our domestic market as well as competitiveness in our exported products. But of course, our partner also from the Department of Science and Technology, I'll give it first to India, because we work also closely with the DOST, particularly in trying to do a lot of innovations, either processes or products that also provides, for example, development of our supply chain using indigenous materials that may eventually also lower cost of production in the country. So because we have a lot of projects with them as well.
Siguro, sir, I will answer that by saying that you brought about these are very important and significant. Like for instance, if si DTI lang po sa DOST yung nag-usap, they provide you in advance, we will provide the technology. But then, kung wala pong mag-pick up ng technology amongst our industry, hindi po magpo-progress whatever we develop. Kaya nga po, we are always, in the DOST, we are always promoting yung cooperation and collaboration. In all our projects, and also we are doing, we are making sure that the industry is there. Kasi sila po yung magsasabi at mag-absorb ng results, whatever results that we are doing. Kasi without them, wala. Mananatili sa mga cabinets namin yung, even the graduates, katulad nga ng sinabi kanina, it will supply, and they don't give the demand, yung demand magagaling sa kanila. Wala rin po kapupuntahan yung efforts ng nag-iisa. So for me, siguro kayo po pang Miss Universe sa sagot, but then I think each of us have a very significant role to make sure we hit the target. Kasi hindi pwede pong gawin ng nag-iisa para makuha natin yung target for the industry. So we also give yung relevance sa aming partner with the government, partner with the academy, the R&D community, and of course, we give high regards then to the industry that would absorb the results of what we are doing.
I think it's about collaboration, and that we and Dr. Alarcon have been discussing on creating a design center within the UP campus. So for the purpose of creating IC designs as well as going down to the level of ID blocks. So that's it's a feedback loop between what industry needs and what and for the academic to use the same tools and the same processes that the industry is currently using. So it's part of keeping the faculty and students updated, as well as allowing the industry to have a fresh workforce that's familiar with their processes. And another thing is just that UST opens initiatives like the Electronics Product Development Center, where it's a shared resource for all of the industry to use. So those are some of the key collaborations that we have. I don't think anyone should, or it's necessarily take the lead, but everyone has to equitably contribute to the collaboration.
Okay, if I understood the question correctly, the answer is really the whole semiconductor industry, and more specifically the circuit design, the IC design community is like, as everyone has pointed out, some ecosystem. And this ecosystem has one goal, right? And then it has to leverage all the components. So for example, even if the university is supposed to generate manpower, we get our funding from the US. We get our funding from multiple sources, the government, the private sector, and then we also work with our industry partners to understand, where we're going, and maybe sometimes influence them on where we think we should be going. And yeah, so it's one of those things where, if we try to do more than we need, then it actually ends up wasting resources, right? So we actually have to coordinate with everyone to make sure that we are operating as efficiently as possible. But yes, I agree that I think the amount of R&D spending is way too low for us. So I think that's one problem that hopefully can get resolved.
It's actually, when you talk about government activities in this, it's a very integrated relationship, and whenever you have a relationship, each of the principles have specific goals. You can divorce one without the other, right? For instance, the industry will define what would be the best product or the best process. People have asked me, and spoke to some of you during the TPA board, what's your projection for the year? I said we project a contraction of 10%. But if you Google, if you look at ChatGPT, the projection for the global industry is anywhere from 10 to 20% growth. Why is that? Well, we're still suffering from the inventory correction and the product mix. If you're supplying to India, if you're supplying to Toronto, then you will see that 10% growth, or 20% growth, right? Come up with the designs, come up with the fabrication of products, etc., etc. But it turns out that the product mix here is such that it's not really keeping up in terms of the high growth, high margin demand. And so that's where the industry needs to come in, identify the mixes, the products that we need to be producing here that would have global demand. So having said that, they can't do it by themselves. And that's why, we look at the government also for support, the OSCE, DTI Office of the President, because whether you're talking about incentives or the ease of doing business or regulatory environment, the industry can't do much without the support of the government. That's why, we have a very active relationship with the OSCE, DTI Secretary of, etc. But then, okay, so you've got the mandate for the government that listens to the customers, the industry, to see where to fund the resources, the limited resources. And then you have another enabler, the academy, right? Because we will need resources just like, of course, you need the supply chain, the materials and all that, but we need the talent. We need the talent that the academy can. So that's what I mean, that the partnership has really to be tied. And, I was at the, Yusek Ferry, I was at the Pinoy Act forum last Monday. And, as most of you know, the intent really is to enhance the competitiveness of the Philippines by producing globally competitive products, right? Made in the Philippines, not just assemblies, but designs, IC designs, and ultimately the end products that can be globally competitive. The Atlas for Economic Development states that the more complex the product is, then it's a direct correlation for the economic growth of the country and sustainability. So, Yusek Pita and Secret talk about mind sharing, IC design, manufacturing, I should say. IC design really as the ultimate definition of manufacturing. But then again, and of course, both Yusek Pita and Gonzalo at the World Bank identified semiconductors and electronics as one of those complex products that really made in the Philippines can propel us towards that goal of economic growth and sustainability, right? But the thing is, so there's going to be, how do you execute it? The devil's in the details. There's TPA or the Pinoy Council. And I look at the membership of that, and I kind of mentioned this to Yusek Perry. And yeah, on paper, it looks good. A lot of government agencies, and there were four organizations. But my appeal to government, my suggestion is let's really take a look at it. Just like, for example, we have an electronics technical working group. Let's drill down on the subsectors that would really define what the complex product should be and what the strategy and the focus should be for executing this. Because to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if that four industrial partners or associations necessarily do safety. And yet, here we are identifying electronics and semiconductor as the most complex by the testimony of USECPITA and the World Bank. But so that's what I mean where, you know, when it's nice to have a program, and I really appreciate, you know, Senator Sunny and Sec Fred for supporting the Task Force, but let's listen to the customers, let's listen to the creators like Anthony and private industry to kind of flesh out the actual details of how you can make this work. Louis mentioned earlier, like a National Council for Integrated Circuits. Actually, in our subcommittee, we tried to develop that up. You know, it's one thing to have those national councils for activity, but why don't you benchmark what other countries are doing? Look at Vietnam. They doubled their exports in electronics in 7 years. More than what we've done in 50 years. So what are they doing right? Well, yeah, they have incentives on this, but one of the things that they're doing is having a national council for the semiconductor industry. Government, academy, industry, and they really talk about, okay, they look at the global environment, what are the problems that are demand, what companies are going to attract to Vietnam, what incentives do we need. So I think that kind of focused effort, and not just something that looks good visually, because everybody is concerned. Because obviously, the bigger the group, sorry to say, but there's more inefficiencies that are involved. But then again, I go back to the fact that it has to be a tight partnership with government, industry, and academia. But let's look at the key focus areas and have a council that really works in identifying and executing the plans to grow a particular target market or sector. Thank you. Siguro, if I can also this, thank you for that question. Thank you for all of the perspectives from our panelists. Actually, we are anchoring our drive for the semiconductor industry, electronics industry, on most particularly on the availability of talent. This is why for this kick-off media briefing on semiconductors and electronics, we chose the workforce development as the primary focus of our discussions. Now, on the availability of talent, the good thing is among all of the countries, wherever you go, right, all of the investors really have all the high places for Filipino talent. One. Tapos second, among all countries also, it's the Philippines that really will enjoy the demographic divide for the longest time. So ito, nothing new. Naman natin for the Philippines, we have until 2051 until our population starts to decline. Whereas other countries are already experiencing that. Now the challenge is how can we harness this availability of talent to have the relevant skills so that they could be more relevant for semiconductors and electronics. Ito nga yung upskilling and upskilling. So we can take inspiration, for example, from what has already been shared this morning. For example, CNX and CBM, yung partnership nila. Imagine mo, local government unit and the private sector, their own, their partnership. Actually, we have 300.
We have a total of 370 employees, but 320 are engineers.
So yung
engineer to total implementation is very high. And you are also anchoring your future development in terms of talent. One of those would be your partnership with Colegio de Muntinlupa.
We also created Mind Hub. It's an ecosystem around Muntinlupa. We will partly how to train the students. We're also creating a program para lang mapadali yung, kasi ang problema kasi right now is that pagka-graduate ng mga bata, very little yung alam nila sa microelectronics. So we're injecting now from start pa lang ng first year college nila, we will have the program already. So by the time they graduate, they have 2 years experience already. So hindi na sila fresh grad or entry-level engineers. We have to make sure that at pag-graduate nila, they have 2 years experience already. Yun yung ini-aim namin ng CDF.
Thank you, sir. And then si Dr. Yu shared their experience when it comes to partnership with Analog. So imagine a program with 6 lahat sila, makikita ko yung credentials, wow, UK, US, kung saan nag-graduate. But with that limited resource, in partnership with Analog, they have already reached, at least Analog, on the part of Analog, sales of $1 billion. Tapos, on the other hand naman, from outside of the industry, well, related industries, DOI also has some experience when it comes to partnering with other NGAs, and also partnering with the academia and the industry. For example, yung sa development natin. So that's one priority sector also for our exports, and we partner with GINAP together with DepEd to be able to entice more students to take up the relevant courses that will have the skill set to prepare them for game development. So yun yung isa. Tapos naalala ko rin yung partnership natin in the past, not with a particular industry, but with a particular company with Holding Serious Space and Power, and partnering them with Batangas State University for their flow of talent. Now, and this is a challenge and opportunity for us, not just for semiconductors and electronics. On September, towards the end of September, and si Secretary Well has been announcing this, but I won't announce the name of the company, but alam mo na rin siguro, but there's a big Singapore-based company that has made the Philippines as their hub for software development. Kung kanilang R&D Center for Software Development is being built and will be inaugurated end of September. And the partnership natin sa kanila is also to make sure that they are top of mind among the students when the students are looking forward. Yung company na ito. Medyo alam nila yung company na ito kung sino. Pero sinasabi nila, kung pwede nyo ma-increase yung level of profile ng company na yun para maraming mag-apply sa kanila. So meron tayong talent, pero kailangan natin mag-generate talaga yung interest ng mga estudyante towards this. Pero kung titignan na medyo mahirap talaga yung mga kurso na ito. But at least we have that talent pool. Now, from the part of the government, so in addition to fostering this partnership, of course, ang role din natin is to provide additional resources. So nandiyan si DOST with all of these programs, and because with PDI, also together with the Office of the President, in bringing in resources from outside, like yung pinanggit natin kanina yung sa CHIPS Act, with their international technology security integration fund, yung ITSI fund nila. Now, one thing that you're also looking at to bring in resources or to free up resources or to incentivize the putting in additional resources for talent pool development is by creating our incentive policy to mirror what we have done in the the memorandum circular that the DOI issued for all use renewable energy power investments. Naalala niyo ba yun from our legal partners? Ginawa natin yun, di ba? Pagka nagtayo pa ng sarili mong solar panel, you shift from fossil fuel-based power to a renewable energy source. We can provide incentives by way of a subsidy of up to 50% of your project cost. We will incentivize by way of an income tax holiday from which you can draw from to finance 50% of the project cost. So, ibig sabihin, for up to 3 years. So, halimbawa, isa example natin, the Japanese company, tumastos siya ng 500 million pesos. So, naglagay siya ng solar panel. So, in a way, binend niya yung electricity cost niya. So, up to 250 million pesos of that solar panel project, pwede siya makakuha ng i-convert namin po ang income tax holiday. So, kung nagbabayad siya ng income tax, so for 3 years, meron siya 3 taon para maubos niya yung 250 million pesos worth of income tax holiday that would then serve as a subsidy sa kanyang power project. So, we're also looking at incentives for manpower development in that case. So, for example, si Phoenix, sabihin niya, okay, this is very, you know that very generous si Mayor Biason and very supportive to Colegio de Muntinlupa. Pero kulang pa, because we ourselves are incurring cost. Like for example, kung ang problema natin is yung mga graduate natin, hindi yung pagka-graduate on the get-go. Meron silang spaces that are relevant for IC design, for doctors. Diba sabihin nila, meron pa kami additional 6 months na kailangan namin silang i-train. Can we get support for that? So you can actually, we will, si Cody, so I will get si Cody, nahanap pa yun ng paraan so that within 1 quarter, so within 3 months, we can issue a policy, theory what we have done for solar panels. Ibig sabihin, kung sabihin ni Sherry sa akin, okay, nagastos kami ng 100 million. Pero we can, we are, as a performance metric, we will train, let's say, sabi niya, 100 new engineering graduates to become IC design ready. Tapos, sabihin namin sa inyo, okay, kung 100 million yan, up to 15 million of that, we can subsidize. I-register mo sa amin, para lalabas siya as a modernization project. So, 50 million, pwede namin bigyan ka ng income tax holiday. Yung 50 million then you can consume for within 3 years. So, we hope that that will help. So, tulong-tulong talaga. You have the help of the LGU, you have the help of the USD, tapos nandiyan sa private sector, and then we will provide the incentives. Now, yung mga foreign partners naman natin, like si DC, like si Taiwan, they can also help in terms of establishing the network among the universities like the sinasabi kanina ni Ruby na mirror the 6 universities. Maybe we can expand that further para we can leverage whatever resources that we have to benefit more universities and we can train more. Tapos yung mga private sector naman can take advantage of that and whatever cost that the private sector can will incur, government can support the way of incentives. So ganito talaga ho. Medyo maraming pieces of the puzzle, but we are getting together so that we can have that 128,000 by 2020 because that is the best competitive advantage for the Philippines. By the way, I was told that we have a semiconductor course or degree program already before. Hindi na raw natuloy. Meron mo ba yung universities concerned?
I think si Sir Abad po.
Sir Abad, meron pa tayo meron daw ng course natin sa conductor engineering or something.
Sir, Juan, kasi ang nangyayari,
yung may nag-post sa Facebook, sabi, meron daw somewhere yung mga owner, kaso hindi na-push to. Doon pinabalak kami na gumawa ng program, DS Microelectronics Engineering Program, October.
Nakatutok yun sa
Sa semicon specific semiconductor, specifically for ICs.
Kaya critical yung role ng media partners sa ating dito. Kasi to really make it known to our students that there is a viable employment career opportunity when you go to semiconductor and electronics. Just to really burn the content and angal lang talaga ito, but the government is here, private sector is here, may malaking opportunity po dito. Including sa mga ganong program. Sana ituloy ni Gasan yung DS, Micro, Electronics. Sabi niya sa UP dati, pinakamahirap na course sa amin yung EE or ECE. Diba? So, mahirap yung mga course na ito, but meron magandang opportunity.
If I add that, sir, yung regarding doon sa, like for example, calling the attention of all the private sector. Like for example, sa amin sa science, malapit na kami sa mga schools na may o-offer ng microelectronics or ECE. Like, we open our branch in Cagayan de Oro. So we partner with MSU Iligan, MSU Caraga State, and then UST. Yeah, we also open a branch in Makati, so parang yung mga taga-north, parang kung nasaan na yung mga estudyante na dito nakabiyay. So I think we have 6 branches nationwide, and then we open also our branch in Netherlands. In the Netherlands. So yung opportunity na meron dito sa Netherlands, kasi usually yung mga estudyante or mga engineers na nandito dito, once they go abroad, so pinadadala namin sa kanila sila doon sa Netherlands or sa States or sa Canada for maximum of 6 months to experience the life of abroad, and then they come back naman. So yun lang yung, I think yun yung mga strategy na pag-isipan namin gawin para lang ma-retain yung talent sa Pilipinas. Again, we don't have a product, but we make the product for our customers. We are a service provider. Okay, so our engineers really work for our mga top-tier semiconductor worldwide. So talagang globally talaga, ang sinusort out nila is mga Filipino engineers. And we've been traveling abroad sa Europe, sa United States, sa Canada. Mga top executives sila, mga directors nila, vice president nila, puro Pilipino. So parang sa akin, just recently, I was in the other day in Belgium. I was talking to, mga director, mga engineers nila, parang sabi, hinanap sila kung may chance na bumalik. Of course, hindi sila mabalik. But yung sinabi ni Mrs. Esperanza na pwede i-invite for the knowledge transfer. We also did that, ma'am. We are now talking to one of the hold on, kasi kaibigan ako. A very sophisticated technology. So they were in the office after last week, and they're asking me to come up with solutions so that they can transfer knowledge to the Pilipinas. So that's what we're working with all the engineers. So sinasabi ko lang is that I think we have the potential. We really we have the potential na maging back in the Intel na parang tayo yung #1. Just imagine tayo yung #1 before, and now we're being compared. Kumbaga parang we're still still here. We still believe na magagaling pa rin ang Pilipino. Kasi we're holding the very latest technology, okay? And kami yung parang palaging tinatawag na secret weapon nila. So,
Cynics.
Cynics. So, like 2022 and 2023, we hired fresh graduates, a total of 130 for them to be trained para lang mag-industry, ano na sila here. And it takes 2 years, a year and a half to 2 years to train them to become the ICT engineers. So that investment alone are very, talagang super laki. And I don't think, we can sustain pa yung gano'n. Kaya we're asking, the government and the activity to really work together. And also, ang daming program na shared UST. Kasi we have the Campus Connect Palawan. This is why we travel all the way to north to south. But ang problema, they don't know kung sino tatawagin sa government to show their innovate, yung mga invention nila. And we did that last year also. We opened this program or the contest among lahat nationwide sa mga estudyante. And we're very, very surprised na akala natin test paper yung ibibigay or yung mga thesis na nila ibibigay. But surprisingly talaga, they have their own prototypes already. So we're doing it again this year on September. Kaya nung sinabi nyo na tatakbo ng last year was approved or launched, we're very happy because ang daming estudyante na meron talaga for tatakbo again. So hopefully, ma-pick up ng gobyerno na to reach out sa mga universities, sa mga schools like CTM, like MSU, UP, ang dami mga innovation na mag-pick up nyo doon, na ang gagaling talaga ng mga estudyante ng mga Pilipino.
Thank you. I have been signaled multiple times. So, one more? Okay. Yes.
Okay, I wanted to build up on what Ma'am Sherry mentioned. One thing and this is common in industry experience, is that from a fresh college grad, it takes about a year and a half to 2 years before the employee becomes proficient. And so what happens is a lot of times they move on to different countries. So ginagawa ko yung eskwela as an industry. I think that's part of the government and academic partnership and coordination is how do we enable the students to become good straight up because that is quite an industry pain point for us. But having said that, magaling talaga yung it's just there's the exposure to the tools that we use in the company or the processes that are not being taught directly at schools. So there has to be some level of coordination between where the academia is at now and where we need them to be right off the bat.
Just wanted to go back to what Secretary was saying. In addition to what we see and through PSAC, we're also talking to the U.S. Department of National Defense. They have this new office, the Office for Strategic Capital. We're there. Kung kasama tayo sa
Hindi ba yan pwede sabihin
Ganun ba?
Hindi mo natin pwedeng
I lost it. Anyway, sige, I'll talk on behalf of
Sorry. I'm really sorry, Dr. Chita. There's another event happening po kasi at 1 o'clock.
I'll make it straight.
Okay.
But the reason I brought that up is because this is PSAC, they have asked me to come up with a write-up. As you know, the funding will run out this year, pero I guess talking to Louie and the IC design people, if there's a specific project you think you should use, no guarantees, pero pinapasabit yung isa, if it is set it to me, and then there's no guarantee will happen. But it's worth a shot. The other thing is, I mean, I hear, of course, the academia, we try to do MSPHDs for the fact analog when they request those types of education. Yesterday I was in the STEP N for talking about the senior high school curriculum. So, and yes, this is what happened was, under the BPO and ministry, isa yung mga jobs, kailangan sa tourism, infra. But specifically, is there an opportunity, and I address this to academia, kasi you just search 1 year, 2 years before, fully phased out, we talk about the college grad, but is there something we can do with the senior high school students? For example, leading up the STEM, leading to a career in ICT side or semiconductors. Kasi they were asking me, ano mga courses ang dapat namin gawin? I have no idea. We have to have another session so that we can talk to our members who are, the academy, kung ano ang pwede i-enhance to sa STEM program so you can start your career going into high school, going into the MS, BS, PhD. Pero naka-set up na. Kasi feeder yan eh. That's the feeder to the college and then to the graduate school. The second thing, is there an opportunity to use TESDA to come up with programs, PRs for basic design skills, whether it's validation or layout, okay, so that they can do PRs for that. So, and then of course, CHED, we have to engage CHED to update the curriculum. Kasi we submitted recommendations for them, you've heard me say this a lot of times, 30 years ago, wala pang nangyayari. So I think those are the areas that we can kind of work together, define the curriculum, define the specific answers, so that from from the time na senior high school sila, hanggang maging PhD sila, it's a fully integrated, consolidated program that enhances our capability to train the workers in a shorter amount of time. Thank you.